right, hello everybody. My name is Tanner Kyler, and today I'm in Baja, California, Sur, here on the southern peninsula near La Paz and La Ventana. Today, I think I'm bringing probably the coolest plant that I've ever shown on this channel, the Cardon Cactus pringlei. It goes by multiple other names: the Mexican giant cactus, the elephant trunk cactus, or the elephant foot cactus, I think. And it is as big as a house. This thing can weigh as much as an adult African elephant. This thing is huge. It is the largest species of cactus on Earth. It is closely related to the saguaro cactus. It also is called the false saguaro. So when people see these, they may think that they are saguaros, but they are not. They get much larger than saguaros. This is maybe one of the biggest cactus I've ever been standing by. One of the really cool factors that makes them different than saguaros. Sorry, we're by the highway, so there's some traffic coming by. But one of the things that makes them different from saguaros is they get this hard woody trunk, and they also branch out much lower. They also can live longer. These guys can live between 300 and 500 years old. When they are young, they can have spines, but as they get older, they just kind of change it out for a hard, waxy coating on the outside that's similar to bark. This cactus is probably 25, 30 feet tall, but they can get up to 60 feet tall. The saguaro cactus is bigger than this, but the saguaro cactus, one of the main difference between this and the saguaro cactus is the saguaro cactus can get taller. About 78 feet tall is the tallest one ever recorded. These guys get about 60 feet tall, but they are much more voluminous or much larger, so they are much more massive. I'm going to move up here because there's so many cars coming by. It's making this video very difficult to record. I'm having to stop every few seconds. But as you can see, if you'll pan the camera up here, it is actually crested, which is very rare when they get this crest up here. It's a genetic mutation that causes that. So pretty interesting up there. They have these large fruits right now. They cast tons of seeds. One of the really cool factors about these guys is that they grow out of solid rock. Paired with solid rock, as the babies start to grow, they pair with a symbiotic or a specialized type of bacteria that helps them colonize the rock, helps them absorb moisture, and grow to these gigantic sizes. If I had to guess, this one's at least 300 years old. It could be pushing 500. I don't know. I'm not an expert. They also don't have rings, so whenever you cut them, I kind of am an expert. Whenever you cut them down, they don't have rings, so they don't tell you exactly how old they are. But Talon, if you'll come right over here with me and follow me. I want to get an up-close shot of how massive this trunk is. It is as big as a tree. This is as big as a large tree here. It has some residual spines here. Somebody has carved their names. One of their biggest things is they are in threat of being poached because they are such valuable cactus. And if you were to get a large one, they're worth quite a bit of money. With that being said, they are federally protected, so these carry very similar punishments to if you were to dig up a saguaro cactus in the wild. We're talking fines of $10,000, if not more, dollars, and some jail time possibly. There is no joke with these. Their government has protected them very seriously. One of the things that makes them much different than saguaros also is their bloom time. So they have white flowers similar to the saguaro, but they only bloom one night a year, and they are pollinated by bats. Saguaros are mostly pollinated by bats as well, but the false saguaros have grown an adaptation to only open up at night to conserve moisture, because they are desert specialists, as all cactus are, as I mentioned several times on this channel. So they have the waxy cuticle outer layer. You can basically think of that as a waxy, thick coat of skin on their body to protect them from dehydration. Their flowers, however, do come at a large cost. That large cost being a lot of moisture loss because they don't have that waxy cuticle layer like the rest of the plant does. So whenever they bloom at night to prevent moisture loss, and then the bats come and pollinate them. The bats also need these to survive. They are almost endemic to Baja. They do come up into some of the southern or northern areas of Mexico as well, and down the other side. But I would say that the largest ones are endemic to Baja. Baja is an island, and it's actually breaking away, so it's segregated from the rest of the country of Mexico, meaning that the cactus and all of the fauna flora and fauna here are evolving separately from everything else. In a few million years, it will actually break off the coast and become an island similar to Madagascar, where everything will end up diverging off on its own path and evolving into something new. This place has a lot of cool species found nowhere else on Earth. Today I actually saw a blue whale and some of the other stuff that lives off in the coast. We've seen some whale sharks that also live in these areas. So these areas are very cool. Also are habitats for things like, not butcher birds, but woodpeckers, Gila woodpeckers, cactus wrens, use them, their fruits, and they nest up inside of them, use the spines as protection and to get off the ground. You'll see a lot of vultures and birds of prey using these as perches. So, as you can see, there are a lot of, it gives them a nice vantage point looking out across the desert in this forest here. So this is a dry forest. It gets very green and lush parts of the year and then goes through very intense drought periods. So, it is a mesmerizing and beautiful cactus and found only here, in Mexico. So, if you ever get the chance to come to Baja, I really recommend seeing these. The biggest cactus on Earth, one of my favorites. Just look at it. It's so spectacular. If you want to zoom out, show this. I'll throw in a few clips of these guys. So here is a large forest of cardons. This is a great example of how thick they can grow. If you just keep zooming in, you'll see how many there are. Thousands of them, and the ocean backdrop makes it very stunning. It's one of the only places on Earth you can see all of these cactus right on the ocean. I'm gonna throw this in here as well. Inside this video, here's a young cardon. So this is what they look like in their younger ages. They do have spines. I'll show you that up close. See the spines all right here. But if we walk into the forest a tiny bit more, there's cow trail here. You can just see how beautiful these forests are. Absolutely mesmerizing. That is a really wicked looking plant. One thing I didn't mention about them is they are a keystone species. So without them, the rest of the desert would perish. So they need them for the soil stabilization, for the pollination they give to the bats, and several other things. So they are critically important for this ecosystem type. Earlier, I showed a forest. I want to show how thick these forests grow. If you turn around, Talon, actually, there's a forest right behind us on the other side of the road. Yeah. Sorry about the cars driving past. I'm going to try to edit those out. I'm going to try to cut that sound out. If I do end up doing that successfully, well, then you won't know what I'm talking about. But with all that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.